away we go. Apologies for the delays, ladies and gents. A couple of the players being just a smidge slow to get into the server, but this is where things start to get interesting. Map pick of the Copenhagen Flames, of course. HEET immediately over towards that CT side of things on Nuke, looking to take as much advantage as they possibly can. And, well, settling into a relatively slow default on the pistol, Dean.
Yeah, nothing too crazy so far. Smoke out in towards main, though, and with that, they will pile on towards this A-bomb site, which is not going to be easy. As you can see already, Buddy's got himself one. Lucky with the dual Berettas, I was going to say, had a strong position, but he isn't able to hold off for that late lurker coming back down from the roof. So the bomb is going to be planted. And with that, a man advantage in favor of Copenhagen Flames. It doesn't look like he's going to give them much time to set up, but they won't be given any time at all to even attempt that retake. 3 instant headshots land. And with that, it's Copenhagen Flames kicking off their nuke in a promising way on the T side.
Big round to find as well. A few very clean headshots to open things up, starting off with a bang. Exactly what you would have wanted to see from the Flames on their map pick. Looking very crispy indeed. And well, CT's nuke second round, it's always a bit of a decision to make. You're never going to get the nades you want. You're never going to get the firepower, but they're going to give it a go with 3 Deegs, exercise on the MP9, Afro, the king of the castle with scout in hand, up against a plethora of rifles, though. Roy, the only man taking the risk, he drops down onto the MAC-10 to get a little extra util. And again, Copenhagen Flames in no rush whatsoever. The outside smokes go out. They take the early control. And now just starting to work their way down secret. Exercise picked off at the extremities as he tries to push on through lobby. And that really starts to open up the options now. 2 players down the vents for the CT side, Body and Jocko. And with the Deagle up close, they could do some damage, but it's Nikados and Hooksy both finding big kills. And this round, again, feels like it's done in an instant. Afro and Lucky, they've got a scout and a Deagle. Those would be 2 good bits of kit to save into the next round, and that's exactly what they're thinking too.
Yeah. A scout, I mean, that's going to be pretty useful alongside the Deagle, as you said, so no point throwing it away. I mean, likelihood of retaking B with what they have is basically 0. I am a little curious as what's going on with Deco.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I was Googling things. I also realized at the same time that my game was coming out on my speaker, so hopefully that wasn't hearable through the mic. Fix that now.
You're good. You're good.
But yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. Like, is that a mistake? But then I saw he actually had the Russian flag, and it was like, okay, what the hell is happening?
Just fancies a stand-in. Fancy the game. And well, here he is. We'll wait and see. We'll get some clarification on that for you guys in the chat. Work out exactly what's going on. But for now, Copenhagen Flames, regardless of if Nikados is here or not, they've got themselves a nice clean 2-0. And with that saved Deagle, in fact, not the saved Deagle, investment into the P250, the scout, the only thing that was able to be saved. I was too busy looking up where Deco had come from. It's going to make this round very ugly immediately. Xiphon's got an early entry. The A site under siege. Nobody really home for HEET. So Roy's going to get that bomb plant down free. And at this point, again, it's an awkward decision to make, but realistically, they've just got to be looking for damage. Take a couple rifles away. Try and make this a little more expensive than it's looking at the moment, because at the moment it is far too clean. Interestingly, Deco is being put as Nikados in the kill feed. So I'm going to go ahead and presume it's a little problem with the HUD, but Deco is Nikados. Don't worry about it, guys. We have got the full Copenhagen Flames 5-stack, and that does make a lot more sense.
Yeah, I was just thrown into the producer there, wondering if maybe it was a leftover Steam ID, probably conflicting from whatever the last game they done was, so that'd be my guess. Either way, hopefully we'll have that fixed up soon. It just would have been a very strange stand-in. You'd be like, "Hi, Deco." Not a bad player, great player, but still would have been a weird addition. I wonder, imagine Deco was watching this like, what the hell?
He's just watching the stream. He's like, I'm not playing, am I? Checks his PC. CS is still booted. He's actually in the server.
A good I was going to say buy here, of course, coming into the first gun round in comparison to what the Ts have available, but that doesn't really seem to be hindering them. Jabby's already got himself an opening kill on the Galil. They can afford to slow it down a bit now, considering they have so many weapons, so many nades in play, rather, as well, despite the weaker weapons. The problem is, Afro gets a bit of a spot above the smoke, and, well, with that now, a 4-on-4 is a decent enough position, but they will need to very quickly readjust. As you can see, they've already forced Body down on towards that lower half of the site, and they haven't even fully committed. They've only left the one player, I believe, crossed over. The rest of them now moving back towards lobby. With that, you may see them head towards the ramp.
Still plenty of options. They're aware of that AWP, so trying to be a bit cheeky with it. Don't want to be walking into that AWP if you can avoid it, of course. Lucky with a little bit of aggression into the hut here. Might just catch himself the timing. It is the lobby retake starting to come in from the Flames, and with 50 seconds left on the clock, it means they're more than likely committed to it. Lucky, this is a rough angle for anyone to clear. Hooksy's going to come into it looking the wrong way. Takes the dink on the chin. Down to 9 HP. Roy, meanwhile, has dealt with the AWP outside. Afro caught completely unawares, and that starts to open up flanks. You can see Lucky now has to bail out of the hut. Has got to be aware of that potential of a flank through heaven. Jocko is just about covering him, but now the molly will flush him into the open. Yabby working this situation brilliantly. It's Lucky alone up on A, and he's whiffed it. He thought he had the kill, but he was one bullet short. And out of nothing, Roy and Hooksy desperately low on HP, but it's an A-side take that succeeds, and Body, well, he's stuck down in those vents, and he's really just got to be, again, thinking about where on earth he's going to be able to save that M4A1S.
That's if he's even allowed to at this point. In fairness, with two players relatively low on Copenhagen Flames, they probably can't afford to lose those players, but they have a bit of money, so as you can see, they're still going to go for the hunt, and see if they can take that weapon away. No matter what, though, it's going to be a 4-0 start for Copenhagen Flames, and this is a bit worrying to me because this is similar to how we see in HEET kind of kicking off yesterday, where initially on Inferno, of course, they had a very slow start, went down 7-1, I believe, before they had to make a comeback happen, and obviously we've seen how it went down on map number 3 as well, where they ended up having a bit of a rough start, and that led to them, in the end, struggling to get the full comeback to the score that they needed. So it's not a good position to be in, especially on the CT side of Nuke. They're going to have to likely give away the 5th round here, and even with that, I don't think there's much being bought up. Just a couple of pistols. Afro has to keep pretty much everything so he can get the op out. And it's just going to have to be HEET waking up in this next round. So far, none of the individuals really have done so. Zyphon could have been in a little bit of trouble. He actually took a ton of damage, down to 17. Rye is going to make the crossover, at least in towards Secret. He actually bypasses the rifle, which might work in his favor. He actually ends up spotting it as he peeks back in, but that's a dangerous fight to commit to, as an SMG now gets dropped in Secret, which could maybe be useful to one of these CTs.
This could start to get interesting. Body, though, has completely abandoned his efforts outside off the back of that initial pick. Heads down the vents, looks to rotate things around. Dekados, as he will now be known, is starting to work his way towards that ramp. AK in tow, Yabby behind him. It's Jocko still there with the Deagle, trying to play the headshot angle, buy himself as much time to hit that initial 1 Deagle as possible. We saw a couple of them yesterday. Whiffs the first, though, and this time does have to drop down immediately into the depths of the lower site. He's lost a teammate as well, Zyphon, with a big pick, and they're going to explode onto the A site off the back of it. 2 quick kills from Hooksy. Pretty much confirmed that this should be a done deal. Again, it's initial success for HEET. Body with the early pick. But then very quickly, Copenhagen Flames just up in the heat. Body unfortunate not to be on the upper site. If he had been, maybe he could have got some more damage done. But once again, he's going to have to concede. Look to save this 4A1S into the next round. Jocko, well, he's got some Kevlar. Has taken a little bit of damage. But of course, probably won't be looking to upgrade onto the head armor against these AKs anyway. So that's an extra $650 he won't be having to spend if he can tuck himself into a corner and hold on to it. And that's exactly what he looks to do.
Yeah, looks like he should be okay. Joko has armor as well there, so that's at least going to be something that he's bringing over as well to build up his own buy here in this next round. But it's really do or die. Obviously not literally, considering they still have to, since they do still have quite a few rounds. But if they do want to actually start turning it around into a decent half, it has to be right here. Otherwise, Copenhagen Flames are just going to run away with this one. And while, of course, we expect a lot more on towards Vertigo from HEET, it's still a position where if they don't get much going at all on Nuke, then I wouldn't say Vertigo would be a certainty by any means, because even though Copenhagen Flames don't have the greatest stats on it, it is one that they are willing to play. So it's a bit of a scary position to be in for sure. Good start from all of the individuals on Copenhagen Flames as well. Nikodos is going to have the op in his hands. Obviously, it says Deco, but you know, at this point, that is just a little bit of a hood issue, unfortunately. Afro's forward position, though, isn't being cleared right now. The flashes over kept him in position at least for a moment, but as you can see, Roy is not even being cautious of it right now. So if Afro had have gone wide, he may have had that kill lined up, but he's taking the safe approach. He's going to stay in position if someone tries to cross. I was going to say Buddy would have the vision, but he gets spammed through the door.
The worst possible timing as well, because it's left Afro completely on an island outside. He will be able to react in time. Deals with Roy, who they know at this point has been fairly consistently lurking outside solo. So off the back of that, they should start to get an idea of where this player is heading. The flashes down the ramp will more than likely confirm as that bomb looks to dive into the lower site. Rotations looking a little bit slow again from the CT side, however. Afro has started to make his way from outside, but he's the only man on this site as it stands. Double doors pinged open to try and at least bait the idea of some presence. Control room lost. Bomb to be planted for it as well. 4v4 retake ensues, and this is a big question mark now for HEET. 4-on-4, first real opportunity they've had with the rifles. This is a retake that absolutely has to stick. Early nade damage. Jocko spotted out on the ramp. Nobody else really showing face just yet. The early trades start to come through, and Exercise doing a lot of the heavy lifting. Nikodos burns alive, and it's lucky with Hooks. He desperately trying to stay alive. Exercise wallbangs him down, and finally it will be HEET getting something registered on the board.
It was not easy, though. Right down to the wire. One for one, back and forth just throughout that entire retake. He does actually get the op in the end as well, which is a really big find, considering they're spending everything just to get their regular buyback in here. If the op had to come out, it would have been at best class cannon, so that's a big find here for Afro to keep on rocking it, especially with obviously Nikodos and everyone over on Copenhagen Flames rather still having such ridiculous money even after this reinvestment. So the pressure is not going to let up, and it can be difficult to replicate that hit down on towards B, so we'll have to see what the plan is. And well, Afro, I thought you might have got a bit of revenge perhaps with the time and counter spam right there. Unfortunately, not able to get anything done off the back of it. For now, just the door being naded off, a bit of pressure being put on by Copenhagen Flames, and yeah, with that, they'll look to just keep that pressure spread out across the map on this default.
Little more support on this outside lurk as well. Nikodos there with Roy, but this time Afro again just catches a nasty little timing right as Roy looks to tuck himself into Africa. Catches Nikodos holding a few too many angles at once. He can't quite line it up. He again with that man advantage to play with. And again, they'll deploy these outside smokes a little later than usual. Into just obscure vision as they make their way down towards Secret. It's the very right-hand side wall of smoke, so really nothing more they can do than start to work their way to the lower depths of the map. Yabi has managed to make his way down the vent on a dive. For now, at least, Jocko is the only player occupying this lower site. He's got a fast rotation. Afro on the ramp is available. Timing surely going to be everything. There's a decent bank of utility on Roy and Hooksy combined as well. A lot of flashes to keep vision blinded on this lower site, but Afro has started to smell a rat. He rotates in to support Jocko at the perfect moment. Eyes trained on these double doors. The AK shots give it away. Jocko, he's got a lot of angles to hold. Molotov keeps his AWP just a little way away, and now they're stalling this T-side as they look to make their way out. The flash hits. Jocko down. Nobody else in the site, but two players on the ramp with 8 seconds left on the clock. That bomb just about going to make its way down in a very awkward open plant. And it's another 4-on-4 retake for HEET to try and conceive, except this time everybody is on the ramp. There's no flank, there's no special play, there's no second angle of attack. It's all or nothing, and at the moment it's looking desperately like it's going to be nothing. Afro trying to turn the tide, hits one and a second on the wallbang, and that's going to bait them in. The bomb halfway ticked out as Zyphon and Yabi set themselves. It's not a great crossfire, the bomb's tapped. They know those double doors are going to have to open sometime. The flash is good, the defuse is being stuck, and the time is just about there for them. Afro goes huge on the AWP, and HEET have their second.
That's just ridiculous. That shouldn't have happened. Honestly, it didn't look like they were going to have any chance of getting a ramp. It was going as expected initially. I mean, in terms of utility, I think they just had 2 flashes, which they didn't even use before coming out. There was no smokes or anything to block off any sort of vision. They walk out, get mowed down into the 2-on-4, and then just start peeking the up and giving them some chances initially anyway. Obviously up against the door right there, that was just a bit of an awkward one. They had to swing in and try and do something about it with the player trying to hop on the bomb, but yeah, a second round is going to be put together for HEET. I said it can be difficult, of course, to chain them together rather, but they proved me wrong. They managed to pull off a second retake on towards that B bomb site. And finally, they might put a dent in the economy of Copenhagen Flames if they can take another, well, actually 2 rounds, it looks like, unfortunately. They're not even going to go for the op. Yeah, that would have put a bit extra economy out of the hands of one of the players and likely at least left one in a position where they might not have had enough to buy. But no, they decide for the rifles. It gives them plenty left over. If they want an op in the next round, then Hooks could drop it, or Nicodos could even buy it for himself. So Copenhagen Flames right now are just giving themselves chances to keep this pressure on. Whether they win the rounds, if they can just keep the guns at least to a minimum in the hands of HEET, then they can have that chance at some point to go ahead and break the economy. That looked like it was set in stone, but no. Body just about reacts and finds himself the headshot and gets away.
Too many targets. Roy, you could see him flick from the first to the second, not sure who to kill, and that gave Body just enough time for that flashbang to fade away. 9 HP, he lives to fight another day. Does concede the control of Secret once again, though, and again, this CT side not too keen on cutting down and dropping into the lower site itself. Instead, looking for the full hold of upper. And, well, if Copenhagen Flames start to realize that Jocko this time isn't occupying that lower site, potentially a free plant, but they're not quite twigging it just yet. Xiphon has started to work his way around control. Of course, there's a ton of sound cues down on B with the glass and the doors, so you'd hope that Jocko will hear it in time, and that's exactly what they're playing for. With 40 seconds left on the clock, Hooksy's cleared through the vents. Xiphon's placed in towards control. It looks like they're starting to think about pouncing instead up towards that A site. Xiphon caught with an aid in hand, dealt with by Jocko, and that should decide the play. They're going to try and desperately charge out onto A, but it's a slaughter. HEET, clean as you like. All 5 players kept on the board, get their third round going, and that is exactly what they needed. They needed something to go their way to start, as you said, Dean, breaking down that economy. It's not a done deal yet, but one more and it starts to feel viable.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is, with that one more, what they then do is they bump Copenhagen Flames up onto the full loss bonus as well, so that's not even going to break them down. It was in a position where the Flames had so much money that their loss bonus is now going to keep those buys going, so at this point, HEET just need to keep this up. They need to try and take rounds in a more clean fashion themselves. And, well, an opening kill going their way is something that's been eluding them for a while. So that's going to be a big pickup on towards Hooksy. And it didn't go as it was planned. If it had have, Gabby would have been in trouble. Instead, he's able to just wait out the smoke, and Body is left completely in the open then on towards main. We're back into the 4-on-4, a position that I think Copenhagen Flames are probably going to be feeling favoured in, especially as they start to move for this outside control with a ton of time on the clock.
See, Lucky's desperate to try and get some info on it, but the smoke's just completely obscuring his vision. Hot Flash isn't going to catch Afro. He'll have free reign, and as the smoke fades, Nicodos, the man to fall. So that man advantage again just starts to swing back the way of the CT side. HEET really finding their form in these last couple of moments. Oh, Exercise, you do not want to play with that. Yabby looking very crispy as he finds his second headshot of the round, deals with Exercise, and starts to again cast these shadows of doubt into the mind of the CT side. Jocko was rotating into hell now, only just starting to work his way back towards that ramp, where once more it is going to be this lower site take from the T side. Free bomb plant as well. Jocko nowhere near close enough to contest, and oh, once more for HEET, there's some big decisions to be made. Xiphon tapping away, finds Jocko, and that's going to be the decision made for them. There's really nothing more they can do except hold on to that AWP and AK. You said it yourself, Dean. HEET needed clean rounds. What they didn't need was a little bit of magic from Jabby.
Yeah, and he's giving it to them. Bit of help from Xiphon as well. It's a nice little team effort overall so far from Copenhagen Flames, but this is the round that they needed. It puts a stop to the full break that HEET were getting close to. As we said, it wouldn't have completely happened because no matter what, the loss bonus would have kept them just about scraping their buys together, especially if bomb plants were going down. But it stops HEET from really stabilizing themselves. They're going to spend pretty much all of their own economy now in order to just buy back into this one, and things don't go their way, then it'll be Copenhagen Flames who are able to just run away, looking towards maybe 8 or even 9 rounds on that T side already. So it just can't be allowed to happen, basically. Heat need to go ahead and win this round out. They have everything they could ask for, at least. Nades-wise, it's there. Afro has the up as well. He's been playing a fantastic having a fantastic performance so far, rather. As he burns a small bit. This is interesting. They're going to boost up above the vent. A little bit of a gap, I believe. Yabi not showing himself for now. He actually managed to just about cross before vision was had, but he might go back into the angle. He doesn't get spotted, and Afro shoots over the shoulder when he finally does. I believe get the info on it. It may have even been just from the radar then that he got the information right there, because it looked like he wasn't too sure that he spotted him. But he wants more. He's going back in for the frag. He's going to go ahead and creep into the angle. It was a dangerous one. But he catches the shoulder first. That's going to be a man advantage now for Heat, and it looks like Copenhagen Flames are being forced to make a decision, and that's the move in towards ramp quickly.
Jocko able to take off Nikodos at the edges, though, as they do get that control, so the man advantage becomes 2. A must-win round, as you said, for Heat, and they're starting to do it in style. Afro working his way through Secret, down the ramp, catches Roy. Not expecting the Orpa to have rotated down through the vents in that manner, so Zyphon and Hooksy are left to see what they can find. 40 seconds left on the clock. Hooksy spotted. Bomb still yet to be seen. Zyphon had it on his back, so Jocko would have caught a glimpse of it initially. Hooksy trying to make as much noise as he can up towards A, but not finding anything at all is going to make it near impossible. And, well, it's an awkward fight on the ramp. Jocko, with the headshot angle, takes advantage to deal with Zyphon, and the economy starts to get a little risky again for the Copenhagen Flames, Dean. Yabi on 3,250. He's starting to get towards that breaking point. The problem is Heat, with that $1,400 loss bonus, they're never more than a round away from breaking at the moment. They need to start stabilizing.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an issue, to say the least. They would be able to get the bite together if they were to lose one, but even then it would be Body, I think, left on a weaker weapon, so you do not want that happening right now with the scoreline. Look at the economy, though, of Copenhagen Flames. They have finally been run down. They don't even have nades on a few of the players. A decent trade, at least, though, for Rye has been found, but Body is tucked in towards Secret, and I don't think we've really seen them play this position as of yet, so it might not be expected. 4 players right now towards outside. He will have to pounce on this initial kill, which means escaping could have been a bit of an issue. With a smoke to drop, I think he should be okay to go ahead and just retreat down Secret if he wants to. Actually sticks around and is going to be gifted the bomb. A follow-up on the Zyphon then as well. Was aware that the flash had come from that direction, and, well, a little bit of a gap gave him the legs perfectly to spray down, and now it's all on Nikodos. He's got a 1-on-4, and, well, the first kill is a decent start, sure, but there's 3 of them, and as long as they play this together, as long as they peek off of each other, there is not much to be done. That's going to be the 5th round for Heat, and a very good recovery from what initially had been that 5-0 scoreline.
A solid recovery. Question is, can they continue to convert on it? I mean, getting very much the echoes of Inferno past here. A very rough start initially for Heat on the CT side before they find their legs. And, well, a 12th round, they finally break the economy of the Copenhagen Flames. Deagles across the board. Flashbang for Hooksy to try and get him into some kind of angle. But realistically, Afro should be having a field day here. Multiple targets. Nice and long range. Does whiff the first a little onto Zyphon, and has got to be a little cautious again here, not to get overwhelmed. So does start to fall back in towards CT spawn as these initial couple of shots don't quite land for him. It's the right call. Gives him a little bit of extra cover as Roy's going to try and work his way around to isolate it. They've got a nice read on this, the Copenhagen Flames. Roy knows what he's doing. Will he expect Afro up close, though? He's heard the scope now. He knows exactly where to look. Afro's been baited into it beautifully, and Roy will take full advantage. Very much a team kill to open things up, and Jocko now got to be desperately careful not to peek in like that. Straight into the angle of the AWP. It's an early 3-on-5. The Pistols looking to get it done in style.
Okay, well, this would be a bit of a heartbreaker. I'm not going to lie, if Heat let this one slip away, and they do obviously still have favored weapons, but at this point now, as long as Copenhagen Flames play this off of each other and have positions for trades, then it should be theirs to win. Time-wise, though, they need to get a move on. Only 30 seconds to get into this bomb site. They're set up, of course, to wrap in from heaven, in from main, from everywhere. But the problem is, again, taking their time. It's allowing for flanks even to come in. Bodies wrapped around through Secret. He's dealt with everyone moving in from main and is allowed now, I was going to say, for the focus to be put towards heaven and lobby. But with Hooksy getting that kill from Heaven, they decide we're going to run this back down to B. It's cutting it close.
Body.
But I think they'll have a second or two to actually get it down. As you said, though, Body's on his way back. I don't think with the smoke, though, that he's going to be able to stop the bomb plant, unfortunately. And he can't even do anything about Hooksy. It's going to be all unlucky, and I think he's already given up on this one.
He had a moment, half an opportunity, but Hooksy body blocks the bomb planter and does one better, finding the kill onto Body. It's the Deagles that get it done for the Copenhagen Flames. And right as we're starting to talk about the recovery, starting to build that story of HEET making this a decent CT half, Copenhagen Flames with nothing but Deagles, just showing some of that intelligence. The bait was beautiful for Roy there. Zyphon just firing off Deagle shots. He's not bothered about getting the kill. He's just trying to keep Afro's crosshair on him. It's beautifully executed. And from there, Jocko, you have to say, maybe with a little bit of a rush of blood to the head, looking for the refrag. Gets caught out. That's an AK recovered as well at that point. And from there, well, it was always going to be difficult, shall we say. It was never going to be easy for them to get that one done. 7-5, though, and as always, when you lose those kind of rounds, when you lose up against the Pistols, it does put your economy back against the wall. The full investment into this round, it will be available for HEET, don't get me wrong, but it's going to cost them near enough everything. A couple of players will have some loose change when all is said and done. Lucky at least saving that AK-47 across is actually going to start to prove critical here as they do strip themselves out, equip the buy as best they can. With a $1,900 loss bonus, if this round goes south, likely looking at an eco for the last again, and that would just be misery upon misery for HEET.
Yeah, can't let that happen. It's been interesting. Overall, both teams have been managing to get these buys out pretty much all the time. Other than the early moments, we didn't see too many ecos, and the one we have seen recently obviously was even one. So it's been a very hectic game. A lot of chaos, constant pressure from both sides, really. And that's what you want to see. It's looking like a quicker move on towards A. We haven't really seen this in quite a while. The flash is over. They were initially quite strong, but it didn't matter. Body, or rather Exercise on the back of the bomb site, was still able to get himself two. And he had some help initially from Body as well in towards that bomb site, leaving it all now onto Nikodos. You'll actually expect that ramp aggression, so he will take Joko out, but now he's only got 48 health. And unfortunately, 3 opponents to deal with who are placing their utility pretty well right now as well to lock him into lobby.
Wanted to be a little cheeky and try and get that bomb down. Doesn't quite land, and now walking right into the belly of the beast. Afro on the angle, well placed to deal with it. A must-win round for HEET, and they do get it over the line. The flashbangs a little mistimed from the Flames. They blind up both their teammates and their opposition. Not quite able to make that fast A-pop land, and well, as the pause comes in, they've got to start thinking about the economy themselves, right? Because you got Nikodos and Roy, Hooksy as well with plenty of cash, Yabi just about able to skim it together. Zyphon's going to need a drop, though, if he wants a rifle and utility. And they'll want to keep the pressure on because, again, it's only a 3-man save as we head towards the very death of this half. Copenhagen Flames, that early 5-0 start, it's going to feel a little bit like a failure if they don't have the lead at the half.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. In fairness, I don't think you'd be able to be too upset with a 7-round T-side on Nuke no matter what. But if you want to really be happy, I suppose, with the half, as you're saying, you would want to at least have that little bit of security, a little bit of a lead going into the halftime. So that's going to be the goal. But if they can do it right here and now, then 9 should be theirs because the buy would not be fantastic going into that next round for HEET. So it is definitely doable. But it's looking like despite those outside smokes in this round, they're not really going to show any presence at all. The problem is the fact that they're not showing any presence means that this more aggressive hold that's currently in place from HEET is going to be finding quite a bit of info. You can see Afro's pushed forward, so he's noted that there's no one here currently. They're going to actually start rotating some players back, I believe, on towards A initially, and even one player down through Secret now, which looks to be the right idea with everyone setting up over towards the ramp. Afro, though, he could be in trouble if he doesn't expect this player up close right now. He's watching for the roof.
Time is going to be everything. He's going to swing the angle and, oh, the flick on the AWP. Roy taken out in the back lines, and it's going to sow the seeds of chaos as well. Nikodos looking for the recovery. Manages to bait the shot out of the AWP and will at least trade things down. Rifle recoverable for Zyphon as well if he can get out, and that's exactly what he's looking to do. But at the same instant, Jocko starts to take swathes of map control in towards that ramp. 4-on-4, it's not a bad look for the T side, but again, they've burnt a lot of time getting that early trade, right? 40 seconds. They're working their way towards outside control. They've only got one smoke left on the entirety of that T side if they want to get across in towards Secret. So it's likely going to have to be the wrap through Mini, and that's exactly the call. And look at the CT side set up to deal with this. 3 players up close, 1 rotating in from the ramp. A Molotov will completely shut this play down. It's going to be a swing with 15 seconds. The Flames, 2 players to deal with on the site, and they can't find either of them. Lucky and Exercise, a beautiful combination. Yappy finds 3, though, out of absolutely nowhere, and that enables the bomb to go down. Yoko on the flank. He needs to deny this plant. He can't quite find it. The spray is wild, and Yappy with a quad kill out of absolutely nowhere. All clean headshots. Gets the Copenhagen Flames their 8th.
What the hell? We didn't get to see that from his perspective, unfortunately, but that must have been ridiculous, just flicking between heads. A couple of seconds, that last shot in towards Heaven as well. His head was barely showing. I don't think he even had a very good angle to take the fight on, but somehow makes it work and even gets away with that final kill. It looked like he was doomed after putting the bomb down. I thought that would be his best efforts, to get the 3, to put the bomb down and leave it onto his teammate, but no, he wanted to not leave it up to chance at all. Gets it all done, and that's just how Yabby Dabby do.
Body through the smoke.
I hadn't an IG yet today, Wolfie. I'm sorry. I saying something stupid.
We're just going to let it hang there. You can sit in your awkwardness, an 8-6 as HEET sit in the awkwardness of losing a 2-on-4 conversion. Man advantage becomes 2 in this round, however. Body swings wide for a second clean FAMAS shot onto Hooksy. Roy has to go recovering for the bomb. Manages to grab it. Taking the lobby control as well, but Yabby once more looking crispy as anything. Finds both the players tasked with holding it. Even on the 3-on-3, Lucky will finally put his man down, and with Xiphon being found by Body again, it leaves Roy half HP in this 1v3. To try and make this a 9th round in the half. Lucky's got to cover the A site and through lobby, so he starts to tuck himself into hut, and it does open up just a little bit of a timing. Roy to make his way through into the site. Looking instead for an early frag, and Lucky, no idea at all. Will go down for free. Bomb to be planted, but already steaming in his body, and he'll catch him right as that plant looks to be connected. It's going to be an 8-7 half. HEET just about able to hang on in there, but it is going to be Copenhagen Flames with the lead on their T side on their map pick of Nuke. We will have to see if they can get it done after the break.
Are you offended now in seeing red again? But oh, I can think of it. The boy who cried wolf in the end. And
left onto Xiphon and Nikodos, but I couldn't even get the words out before Nikodos is left alone. Unfortunately, there is still an issue with the hood, as you can see. Deco obviously not standing in. They're playing their own game at the moment. He hasn't been cloned. We'll see what Nikodos can do in the 1-on-4. Even a couple of kills to go towards the purchase later on would be a nice addition, and that's a nice little start. A snappy headshot onto Joko. Should be peaked pretty much from everywhere in a moment, though. Yeah, they were waiting on the player to get back up into Heaven. He took attention for a second, and they swing from in behind the bomb site as well. We're going to be tied up at 8-8. The pistol round that we said needed to go away, he is going to do so. And now we wonder whether we're going to see a force or if it's going to be the safe approach here with an eco and then a buy from Copenhagen Flames.
Big decision to be made, and Copenhagen Flames are not going to go for it. Happy instead to stick around, play out the eco, aware perhaps that they got so much done over on that T side that they may as well wait for the full buys. No need to take any risks right now. 5 default pistols on the board, and well, for HEET, this is one of those rounds, right? Not really expecting anything to go too wrong. It's an upper side stack for the Copenhagen Flames, and well, HEET have managed to avoid it. So it should be, you know, job done. wipe your hands clean, and away we go with the next. The only thing you can really hope for if you're the Flames is maybe to damage, dink up a couple of these rifle players, get something taken away and saved for the next. But even that is looking increasingly unlikely, as they are just going to explode into the lower site. A little bit of utility used, perhaps, is the silver lining, but I'm struggling here, Dean.
Yeah, I don't think there's too many positives to be found in a round like this in fairness. Normally, the biggest one is if you can avoid feeding to any sort of SMG that's in play, even if it's just the rifles that get the kills instead, cut the potential build-up of the economy even by a small bit for your opponent. They're going to just group up in towards Secret. I like this, up close and personal with the USPs. They'll wait and hope that someone exits in their direction, but is that going to happen is the question. Heat don't really need to. They could probably take it up through ramp even, which would be a slightly safer place. They are going to indeed end up clashing, so we'll see how this goes down. 1 kill from Nikodos. Again, as long as the kills aren't against the Mach 10, then it's not really too big of a deal, and they get 1 kill out of it. Nothing to lose themselves. Yeah, that was worth it.
We'll take it. We'll take it. It's not the end of the world for either roster, really. Things start to get interesting into the third round of this second half, however. 9-8, Heat just about able to scramble their way to a lead before the rifles start coming out for that CT side of the Flames. 5M4A1s, of course. No AWP. They just didn't have the cash, having saved the second. Limited utility as well, and that may well come back to haunt the CT side as those early outside smokes start to bloom for Heat. Early control to be taken. Lucky has stuck with the Mach 10. Afro showing as only having a USP. That would be an incredibly bold call if he has gone for it. Looks like that indeed is the play, and Roy straight through the smoke is going to start stripping the rifles down. Body a little unfortunate to get caught, but it's going to be Afro on that USP to try and bait in some of his teammates on the rifle. The double peek's good. The dink on Hooksy better. And Afro on the USP will actually find the conversion. 4-on-4 now. The charge only going to get quicker in towards this lower site. It's an awkward fight for Zyphon, but he manages to find the first. And now he knows Jocko on the headshot angle above him, but he's finding his teammates on the rotate. And that nade stripping Zyphon of near enough all his HP. Somehow he's still alive, and he's bought enough time for Yabi, who swings wide to clean things up. The Flames get it done. 2 rifles left on the board and an economic breakpoint for Heat.
That was a bit awkward, yeah. Sometimes you just need to throw the player in towards that man who's tucked in dark, because that was the whole objective right there. Just waste a bit of time for his teammate to rotate in, and they were even just so fully focused on him that, as we see in Yabi, was able to have free reign pretty much on cleaning things up. So a great round, a great hold from Copenhagen Flames in order to pick up that first gun round, which does immediately make Heat have to consider exactly what they're going to do in this round. They have some money, but it's not quite enough on Afro. If Lucky wants to buy, he won't really have any nades behind his AK either, unless he's willing to go towards a Galil or something. So while I think they will probably buy here, it's not going to be quite perfect, as we can see. So they wanted to work it out exactly how they were going to do it, and well, I guess we're seeing what they've come to in terms of the decision. I was thinking perhaps Afro goes for a few more nades, but no, he's happy for the rifle. And honestly, it's pretty on par with what Copenhagen Flames have.
It's not bad. T-side economy, current meta. It's not a bad look at all. Zyphon has to drop down onto the FAMAS, so there's the sacrifice for the CT side. Again, limited in their util, and well, Lucky going to play that luck to find the early kill. It is immediately traded, but 4-on-4 always feels better for the T side than CT's, as Nikodos, under pressure from everywhere at once, has managed to find a dink out of nowhere onto Afro. But again, Lucky chimes in, just being cheeky in and around the hut. Yabi will finally put his man down. It's absolute chaos in this early round. Nobody really has any idea what's going on for the Flames, and they're holding so many angles at once that Afro and Jocko combine to deal with Nikodos and leave Zyphon alone. He's only got the FAMAS in towards this A site. His teammate Yabi desperately far away as well, only just now working his way back up through Secret. These timings are going to be absolutely everything. A body is waiting for that wrap. Yabi dealt with. The bomb now can go wherever it pleases. Zyphon currently holding the right angle, but he's going to be flanked in from just about everywhere here. Jocko to make his way through Hut should be the man to get an absolute freebie. Zyphon, yeah, looking the wrong way. Nothing he could do at all. Double digits for Heat. Again, the economy is busted for the Copenhagen Flames. And this T-side looks like it's got legs.
Yeah, just absolutely picked apart on that one there. As you said, now it's just left Copenhagen Flames in a position where they have to take one more full eco, and even then with the buy in the next round, it's going to be again kind of similar to what their first gun round was like. We're sure they'll have the rifles and such, but the utility behind it is not going to be fantastic. And in the meantime, HEET are going to be given a chance to actually bolster their own economy a small bit. Are we going to see anything crazy from Copenhagen Flames there? Stacking a bit on towards A, but it doesn't look like any sort of aggression or anything is going to be thrown forward. Willing to sit back with their USPs for now. Look, he's actually got his way down vent already. So that's going to be a good bit of control. Again, though, with how little in terms of weaponry there is in the hands of Copenhagen Flames, that can even be a little bit more dangerous. If they had been aware of the fact that Lucky had crept down the vent, then they might have even focused a couple players in on him to see if they could get that weapon a little bit earlier on.
Should be relatively clean sailing, as you said. Take advantage of the range of the AKs. Give yourselves a little bit of breathing room. HEET starting to work their way outside now with a minute left on the clock. Exercise will play the lurk role. Currently tucked inside of the hut. Lucky really is the call for the whole of this play. Having made his way down the vent, he's seen nothing on the lower site. So he calls the team down, makes them commit to this early rotation. 40 seconds left on the clock, making no noise at all, HEET, making absolutely sure they're as silent as possible. Now they'll start to step, and now the game will be up. But with 30 seconds and all 5 players up on the A site, there's really nothing the Flames can do. They'll look to pounce, see if maybe they can take a couple rifles away. A nice double dink from Yabi will mean there's one to steal. Exercises 4A1S, I'm sure, will be hidden as far away on this map as you can get to try and hold on to it for the next round. The rest of these USPs, well, they'll just have a little bit of a lurk around, see if maybe they can get a dink, get someone taken out by the bomb, make this a little more expensive for HEET. Because at 11-9, this T side's starting to look very functional for HEET, and that will worry the Copenhagen Flames. They had a great T half themselves, but if they can't get control of that CT economy early, it's going to get very difficult to maintain.
Indeed. I mean, they were the ones who dealt it out in that last half when they took the initial lead, so they know it's a possibility, and at the moment it's looking pretty damn likely unless this next gun round is what again turns the tide. Yabi's hoping for a weapon. He charges into 3 of them. Even if he got a kill right there, there was 0 chance he'd have gotten away with the weapon intact, so there wasn't too much to gain other than a bit of damage, which still could be useful at this stage. In fairness, that's one thing that hasn't gotten completely out of hand. That's the economy for HEET. They would like to maybe clean up these rounds a tiny bit more. We'll see now coming into what is such an important gun round. The Copenhagen Flames realize that they get the pause in. And while they will have pretty much all of the utility they could ask for behind these rifles, there's no op in play, which isn't always ideal. Especially considering Nikodos was looking pretty solid on that previous half when he had it a few times.
Gonna need something a little special here.
Seen the hood refreshed here. I think we're still trying to get that fixed, by the way, guys. Not sure what's going on. If it's not just the Steam ID, then I have no idea why it'd be doing that.
Bear with us. Bear with us. We'll get there.
Maybe the hood just loves deco. It's the same time twice.
Why not? He's a class player. Copenhagen Flames, they could do with a class player here. Yabi looking to be that man. Clean headshot onto Lucky as he tries to lurk out through the vent. Big man advantage for the Flames. 4 AKs remaining. There is utility, potentially, to plan out some kind of an execute for HEET, but they've committed really heavily to this play down into the lower site. They've got Body trying to work things out. The Molotov now isolates the fight, and it burns at the feet of Exercise. Nikodos, whilst he can only get 1 kill, finds good damage onto 2 more players. Exercise and Afro tag down. Roy spots out the lurk of Afro as well, and this starts to get very messy indeed. Body trying to be cheeky in the vents. I think he's just made a footstep as he drops, which will give the game away for a split second. It looked like he was going to catch a timing. Instead, this lower side player again going to come through. The rotations are a long way away, though. Afro, with that lurking role, has managed to keep the CTs relatively passive, and as Body deals with Zyphon on the lower site, it's going to be a free plant. Nothing more the CT side can do about it, and they've got a decision to make. They know there's damage onto every player, so they want to give this retake a go, but Body on the headshot angle's got an early kill. And with Hooksy spotted and tagged up as well, this goes from bad to worse. Everyone is low for this T side, and Yabi will start to realize that as he deals with body. Hooksy, though, doesn't expect the off angle. Clean one tap to the skull, and Afro on 17 HP finds the finale. Heat with a 12th. Copenhagen Flames in disarray, and this CT side goes from bad to worse.
And again, this is the map that we look at as being the one where Copenhagen Flames should be winning. Vertigo up next. I think you mentioned Heat are on like a 16 win streak on it. Either way, they've played it a ton of times and have like a 90-something% win rate. So it's one where you would definitely put Heat as the favorites going onto it. So if they can steal this one away, then there's going to be a lot of trouble. I was a bit hopeful there when we got down to that B retake. It looked like maybe there was some hope considering the health on the buys on Heat. And it would have been maybe deja vu, a bit of a reversal of how he had actually kicked off their own CT side on that previous half when they got those 2 successful B retakes in a row, which can, of course, be difficult to do. There we go. We're back into the action. The pause is removed, and after a little bit of a chat, unfortunately, all Copenhagen Flames are able to pull out his pistols and Kevlar, and they'll be heading into the gun round in the next one, down 13-9 most likely. And if that gun round doesn't go their way, the best they'd be doing is fighting for an overtime, so they haven't got many chances left.
It's just going from bad to worse. We thought Copenhagen Flames had a good T side. Well, Heat are doing one better. Pistols out. Nothing the CT side can do, though. That buy down to 2k is decimated near enough immediately. 2 quick kills for Lucky, and Body will secure the A site. On to go down. Round is done. And these 3 remaining players, I mean, Nikados especially, considering he's got head armor, that's $1,000 that he really doesn't want to be reinvesting. So they'll go for a little bit of a look in. Roy trying to be cheeky with that CZ, but Lucky is all too ready for it. And at this point, yeah, Zyphon and Nikados, there's nothing you can do. Save up what you've got. Plan for the next round, because you're going to be 13-9 down. Heat's T side continuing to just crackle and burn away at your edges. And don't forget, this is the map pick of the Copenhagen Flames. We were talking about if they could get the momentum here, then how they could steal it on the 3rd. But if they lose their own map pick and their CT side malfunctions this badly heading into Vertigo, that's going to be such a confidence builder for Heat.
Yeah, I think we can kind of see that confidence having already built up a little bit at this point. What is up with Body, though? He's on fire the last couple of days. He was playing insane yesterday. From what I recall, on that final map especially, or was it on the D2 even, rather, where I think it was Body and Exercise who were both playing really well. Either way, they've been nuts on the rifles, and it seems to be continuing at the moment, so we'll see if Copenhagen Flames have any sort of response at this point. Again, outside smoke's being put down, just looks like a bit of a default. It's actually Joko this time who's going to pressure out through door. Lucky was the man who was usually focused on this area, and he actually will bypass Hooksy out through the smoke, trying to wrap around onto that bomb site. Unfortunately, the mollies that I believe are from his own team stop him from being able to get vision initially, but he had just covered so much ground and was acting as a little bit of a nuisance at that point. His teammates start sweeping up all of the entries, and that's going to be a bomb plant going down with no opportunity at all for Copenhagen Flames to contest it. They've just got to save, surely.
There's no other choice. The A-pop has worked absolutely flawlessly, despite, as you said, those Molotovs making the fights a little bit awkward. Zyphon and Nikados, they have to save. It's going to be 14. They can look at their economy. Absolutely decimated. Start to try and work out how on earth you are going to come back into your own map pick. And of course, Heat are going to start hunting here. They've got plenty of cash in the bank. Flashes as well from Afro to enable this exact peak. A missed shot from Nikados. First of the flashes blinds him away. They know that both of these players are now tucked in the corner. Zyphon doing a fantastic job of keeping his Orca alive. Nikados struggling. They just about get it done. 14, they just about hold on to those 2 rifles. And that is a very thin silver lining.
Trying to just scrape together some positives at this point. They have a decent enough investment, obviously, with the weapons being carried through, but there's an MP9 onto Hooksy, which isn't ideal. It's really win it out here and now, or else you just won't have too much to even try and fight for the overtime in the following round. So this has to be a victory at this point for Copenhagen Flames to keep any chance of pulling themselves back into their own map choice, and that is a decent start from Zyphon. Unfortunately, Lucky then counter spam through the door, I believe, to get revenge. And I was about to say the player even wrapping around the smoke right there was probably going to catch Rye off guard. He ends up peeking forward into the op either way and falling. That's going to be a 3-on-4 now for HEET. Siphon feels the pressure and need to try and somehow get them back into this round. And I don't think he was expecting Exercise to already be sitting so close.
Unreasonably crispy from the rifle. Nikodos again, this time with Yabi. Left with a decision to make. 2-on-4. HEET, you can see, just playing the fundamentals of CS really nicely at this point, knowing they've got a significant advantage in terms of manpower. They'll group up, they'll start to execute on out. Nikodos is covering this cross, but the smoke going down, he's going to have to hope for a timing shot. A little bit of a gap in it. Yabi Molotov'd out, only able to get one, very nearly the second. He's trying to give Nikodos something to work off of. If he'd found Afro, maybe this would have been viable, but instead, yeah, Nikodos just does all he can do. Tucks himself into the corner, tucks tail and runs away. It goes from bad to worse. HEET, they won't take any risks. They'll make sure the site is wide open for the taking before they get that bomb down. A 15th round is theirs, and, well, likely they'll go for a little bit of a hunt because they're going to have 6 map points on their opposition's map pick, and they'll want to take this off away.
Yeah, if they take it out of his hands, then there's basically nothing at all for Copenhagen Flames to utilize in this next round. So more than worth throwing their own weapons towards it. And, well, speaking of which, it's actually Afro's op that does go down initially, gets the dink before he falls, which should at least mean now Exercise and Lucky coming in shouldn't have too much trouble with getting this one done. At the most, even if Deco lands that initial shot, you'd imagine the follow-up is ready then on the trade. And again, it's worthwhile for them if they even throw the weapons away. But it doesn't matter. They get him. They pick the op back up. That'll be tossed back over as well, of course, to Afro. And now you have 6 chances pretty much for HEET to go ahead and get this finish for themselves. And as we mentioned, they'll be setting themselves up absolutely fantastically with Vertigo coming up next to try and take that 2-0. And I think we were saying, even going on towards Ancient, in terms of looking at stats, it does look to be a slightly stronger map for HEET as well. So they really will just be setting themselves up to win out the series from this point forward.
It's a brilliant start for HEET. They want to get it done cleanly, though. Won't want to take too many more risks. 16-9 is a fantastic scoreline on a map like Nuke. 5 rifles, 4 and an MP9 against them. Limited utility for that CT side once more. HEET know it. They know that economy is on breakpoint once more, so they just slow everything down. Wait for that CT utility to bleed away. Wait for them to run out of nades. Then they start to plan their execute. All 5 players in towards the lobby. No messing around. It's the A-pop called. Yabi trying to get aggressive behind it. Manages to line 2 of them up. Afro yet to trade. They know where Yabi is, but that's the bomb down. And now the supporting cast are flooding in. The HE doesn't quite connect, and Hooksy, in fact, takes his teammate down. Yabi on low HP, betrayed by his teammate's HE. And could that prove critical? There's 45 seconds left on the clock. A handful of smokes and Molotovs to start clearing their way in, and Afro uses his well. Roy gone. Hooksy on the MP9, desperate to make up for his mistakes, but it's a clean 3-on-3, and there's nobody on the lower site. If the T side realize this, if they barrel on down, there's a huge opportunity. They've dove down the vent, they go, and oh my goodness, the bomber's made it. On the back of body, it's going to be a free plant on this lower site. Waits for his smoke to get it down, and they've got 2 players lurking. Hooksy deals with 1. Nikodos will be the next issue. In towards this lower site, and Zyphon has found body. It leaves the AWPer in no man's land. Copenhagen Flames find themselves the miracle. Double digits at the very least, but there's a lot more fighting to do.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. I mean, rushing the bomb plant, it's a bit of a weird situation when your teammates are going to have so much trouble actually getting down to join alongside you. Bit unfortunate. I think if he waited a second rather than swinging out as well, he probably would have caught Nikodos opening the door, but there's no way to really know. He was hoping to try and catch a one-on-one against someone coming out of ramp instead. He definitely had the right idea to try and force something, because again, he couldn't just sit on the bomb site while his teammates were struggling to come down and join him. It is 1 round now out of the 6 that were required, of course, for Copenhagen Flames to pull this towards the overtime. And it's a start, but there's going to be at least 2 more needed before they break that economy down completely. There's another buy, of course, in the reserve there pretty easily for HEET. Looks like they're going to bring it straight into A. Yeah, just it worked out before. Why not trade it out and hope that this is going to be successful? And well, so far it is actually going the way of Copenhagen Flames. It's 1-for-1 continuously, and there's still a player even sitting in the smoke on top of the hut, and they have no idea. Lucky, he had been distracted the entire time by Zyphon, of course, who was in the hut itself. Had only taken the 1 kill, sure, but he was making a ton of noise.
Lovely stuff. That's 2 A-pops, 1 fast, 1 slow, and both of them dealt with by the Flames. The CT side starting to come into action here. If they win this one, 2,400 loss bonus, economy will start to break, an opportunity to stabilize and dream a dream of OT here on map 1. Different call this time. They're going to post the Orca outside, try and put the pressure onto Nikados. Afro waiting for it, but the flick from Nikados is good. He can't find the second, but he gets away. For a split second, it looked like the punishment would connect, but not to be for the rifler outside. Body, despite having an absolute blinder of a first map, not able to find the refrag that's so desperately needed. So the man advantage once more swings the way of the Flames. Early 4-on-5, and what is the call for HEET? Plenty of utility to start planning out and execute. Lacking in smokes is the only real issue, so it won't be a play over towards Secret. Instead, finding something a little cheeky up towards this A site. It's going to be another pop play. Couple of flashes through the top. Molotov to try and flush the angles, but Hooksy top of the hut. Now he's forced back. The Molotov draws him out into the crosshairs. Lucky deals with him. Second molly comes in. Yabi stuck between a rock and a hard place now. Needs support from his team. And for now, they're smoked out completely. He's just going to tuck. Try and hide behind the silo as long as he can. He's got the first, but no more. 3-on-3. The smokes start to fade. Jocko has dealt with Yabi, but he's stuck now in towards CT vent. He can hear Nikados' scope, but he's got so many angles to worry about. Zyphon takes up occupancy in towards heaven as that bomb goes down, and it's going to have to be a 3-on-3 retake. 2 flashes, 1 HE. Roy a long way from home as well. That's going to give this T-side just a little bit of time to start pacing themselves. They go for their afterplants. Exercise tight inside the site. Jocko still stuck T-side vent. It's going to be Body in towards the hut who does it all, and he finds Nikados to open things up. Exercise dodging the flash, baits Zyphon out wide for the second, and it's all on Roy. He's a hero rifler at times. He's got to do it all here, and he won't connect the second. It's going to be the HEET boys who get it done on their opposition's map pick. I mean, you know, we looked at that first half, we looked at their CT side, and we said, this is done. The Copenhagen Flames have looked very solid on T. They should be able to stabilize on their own map pick and get out, but it's quite the opposite.